Imagine having a magic wand, like the one from Harry Potter, my favorite movie, that you can wave and make things come true. Now that's very similar to setting goals, but with a bit of an issue. It takes longer and you have to put some effort in. But the end result is the same. You wish something, you work at it, and after some time period, you get the results. That's exactly how I view it, and that's why for the last 6 years, every single year in December, during the holiday days, I would sit with a piece of paper and a pen and think about 1 year from now, what do I want to have? What do I want to be? And what accomplishments do I want to have? Now, here's an interesting thing. The first 3 years or so, it didn't work for me. I would set the goals, I would hype myself with high expectations, and I would even work hard during the year. And then at the end of the year, I would look at the list, and I had done very few things from that list. Often I had done completely different stuff, but not the ones on the paper. And some of the items had just become irrelevant. But it felt pretty frustrating, like I planned something and I couldn't do it, or the goals I set were wrong or irrelevant. It felt like losing, basically. So it was actually almost counterproductive for me. And then I learned that there is a wrong way to set goals and there is a right way. And that pretty much changed the whole thing for me and changed how I plan the year now and get more accomplished in a year than ever before. So here is what changed. First of all, I was viewing these goals as a fixed set of things that I needed to just check off, like a to-do list. And I would put it away and not look at it for the entire year. And then almost make it a surprise to see how many of those items I had checked off by the end of the year. Now, instead, I realized goal setting and achieving is a proactive thing. It's not a diploma that you frame and put it on the wall somewhere. It's a workbook. So what I did was I would take these yearly goals and priorities and I would work backwards from them to see, okay, what do I need to do and accomplish in the first quarter in order to achieve those yearly goals? Then I would take those first quarter goals and say, what do I need to do in January, the first month of the year, to achieve those quarterly goals? And then, you guessed it, I would break down the January goals into goals for the first week of January. So basically, I made these large, maybe scary annual goals more realistic and much more manageable by basically breaking them down into smaller tasks and pieces. Now, here's a second interesting element of this. I stopped treating these goals as set in stone. In fact, after each month or quarter, I would look at those yearly goals and reevaluate. Like, are those things still relevant? Do I still want them? Maybe my priorities have changed, or maybe I have new opportunities now that I can pursue instead. So now I can replace some of these yearly goals that I set and do the replanning and reprioritization. And that was actually a very important element. For example, we had 1 year where I planned some milestones for a startup that we were working on, but in March, we saw that our tech YouTube channel was actually taking off and clearly saw that we were building something much bigger than our small startup. So very logically, we shifted our focus and all our efforts to the YouTube channel and double down on that. So I reset all my goals, scratched everything about that startup and set priorities for TechWorld with Nana channel instead. So what you do is you stop every month and quarter and ask yourself, wait, where am I going again? Where do I want to go? And then course correct to actively make sure that you get exactly where you want to go at the end of the year. And this is so powerful. Like that self-reflection and checking and validating whether you are going in the right direction or not is extremely important. Now, you may be thinking, I would need a whole day to do this yearly and quarterly and then monthly planning for the next year. This sounds like a lot of work. And you would be right. It is work. Especially if you have never done this before, you would need some time to get used to and to come up with your own framework. But here is what makes this work pay off tremendously and is worth that time that you invest. Imagine for a second, you spent the whole day working really, really hard on various different tasks. And let's say many of these tasks, you didn't even enjoy doing them. They were absolutely tedious and not exciting. And as you sit down on a couch at the end of the tiring day with a sigh, someone comes over and says, hey, I just audited your today's work, all the tasks you did, and actually none of them mattered. Like they didn't contribute anything to your health or wealth, anything meaningful for you. So basically, you just wasted all your today's energy for nothing. Instead, if you had done these two tasks here that would have taken maybe 2-3 hours, you would have been closer to your goals and not even feel exhausted. How would you feel about that? Would you not think, oh my God, I want to avoid this happening ever again. I don't want to waste my energy on meaningless stuff that don't contribute anything to either my health or wealth or happiness, like literally just waste of energy. So you would carefully select your tasks for tomorrow to save time not working on things that don't matter, right? And this happens all the time because we don't pause to really zoom out and question whether our to-dos and things that we are working so hard on are really high priority tasks. And unfortunately, no one comes over to us having audited all our work and telling us not to waste our time. I read this book called The Effective Executive. And one main concept I learned from that book was that effective executives who are super highly productive do their planning asking this one question. What are the next most important top 10 priority tasks? And sometimes, and usually they would discuss it with their team and set those priorities. Once they had that, they would pick the first priority on that list and start working on it with full focus until completed. But here's an interesting part. Once that top item is done, they wouldn't just go and pick the second item from the list. They would do the planning again because time has passed. Maybe a few months went by. So maybe priorities have changed already. Or that first task made few others on the list irrelevant. So they would redefine the priority list and again pick the top item from the new list and just cycle through it like that. And then just repeat the process. So with this strategy, instead of passively planning or just reacting to whatever priorities come your way, you are actively deciding every single week and every day that you will work on things that you defined as your long-term priorities. And now logically, if you pick the destination and made sure to move towards that destination every single day, every single week, eventually you will get there. Versus if you pick the destination, but you got caught up in your day-to-day, people came to you with all sorts of requests that sent you in other directions, you will not get to the destination. Pretty much guaranteed. So to give you a practical task, here is what you can do. Since the holidays are coming up and the new year is coming up, you can plan to do this during your holiday time. First of all, take half a day after Christmas and before New Year. This is probably the least busy time. Then take Notion or whatever similar software you want to use and create a page called 2025. And inside, list your top 10 to 15 things that you want to achieve, you want to have, and you want to be in 2025. For example, this could be, I want to do a surf trip. I want to double my current income. I want to double my current savings. I want to have learned personal branding or marketing, or basically some new valuable skill. Maybe learn how to use AI to make my work 10 times more productive. So basically things that either you have passion for and excite you, or things that you know for sure that will get you financial freedom, contribute to your well-being, your financial wealth, and so on. Generally, I like having goals that are specific in outcome, but also imply a set of habits or work and effort that you need to put in to get that outcome. A good example would be if I say I want to be able to do a headstand by the end of the year, it automatically implies that you build strong muscles, that you did regular exercise, that you kept a clean diet, because people who aren't fit or have strong muscles, they can't do a headstand. Another one is double my income. It's very specific in outcome because you literally take your current one and you double it. That's your outcome. But it implies that you learn a new skill or build another income stream, whatever, to make that happen. And here's one very simple but powerful addition to this. Next to each goal and priority that you set for the year, write why you want to achieve that. Like, why do you want to be fit or be able to do a headstand? Do you want to impress someone? Do you want to feel good about yourself? Basically, identify whatever makes that goal worth it for you. Why do you want to double your income? Do you need to pay your debts? Do you want to do a bucket list trip with that money? Do you want to feel more financially secure? Again, something that will make this goal worth it for you and exciting when you read it. And I highly suggest don't skip this part. It's going to be very important for motivation and as a reminder why you're doing all this. Now, once you have those yearly goals listed, then create 4 sub-pages for quarter 1, 2, 3, and 4. And in quarter 1, plan in what do you think you need to do to move closer to those yearly goals, or even check off a few of them from the list. Then in quarter 1 page, create sub-pages for January, February, and March, and plan January to-dos that will contribute to achieving those quarterly goals, maybe 10 to 15 tasks or projects. And here's what I do here that really, really helps me, is I actually take physical Post-it notes and I write each monthly goal on those Post-its. And I stick them in my office to not only have them in my Notion on laptop, but also physically in my room. So every day I can go and check my progress of how I'm doing, how I'm progressing through my tasks and my goals. And I can physically move those Post-its as I accomplish these tasks. And it can be really satisfying. And I actually even do this with weekly goals as well. So if you want that additional bonus, then you can repeat this part and actually write your monthly goals, put them around in your home. So, and the last part is plan your first January week based on January monthly goals. And that's it. You are good to go. And then you repeat this every week. I actually do the planning every Sunday. I stick the Post-its for the new goals of the week. And on Monday, I just start working on them. And once you get to the end of quarter 1, you simply reevaluate your annual goals and overall progress based on what you have done so far. And you do the planning again. You literally go back to your annual goals page and decide which goals are still relevant for you or which new ones you want to add. And then do the quarter 2 planning, so on until the end of the year. That's the system. And I've been using it for the last 3 years very, very successfully. And I would say the biggest benefit that this system has is I constantly feel like everything is under control. I know exactly what my priorities are. I don't get caught up in other people's priorities and other people's urgencies. And this system actually makes sure that I don't have days where I literally work on things that do not matter just because they're on my to-do list or because they're urgent or somebody thought it was important. So it makes my work extremely efficient as well. Now, I will be very curious to know what your results are once you do this. And you can even share your annual goals below as a way to hold yourself accountable or for others in the community to hold each other accountable and share your progress and results on how this is working for you. And I will be very much looking forward to your comment below. Till then, cheers.